Good morning, children. Let's continue with the lesson, A Day in the Country, Part 2. This is written by Anton Pavlovich Chekhov. Okay, children, I suppose you remember what we had done in the previous session. Okay, we are going through a story in which there is a beggar girl called Fyokla, and she is running around, okay, searching for a, a cobbler called Terenti, okay, and but she keeps asking everybody where Terenti is, but nobody is willing to give her an answer. Finally, his close friend, okay, tells her that Terenti is in the at the back of the kitchen, okay, garden, and finally she goes to Terenti and tells him that her brother Danilka has got his hand into a hole in a tree and is not able to pull out. So she wants Terenti to come and help him. Okay, so let's continue with the lesson. The rain has begun, mutters the cobbler, kicking up the dust with his bare bony feet. That's fine, Fyokla, old girl. The grass and the trees are fed by the rain, as we are by bread. And as for the thunder, don't you be frightened. Okay, so it has begun to rain. Okay, and but here the cobbler tells Fyokla not to be scared. Okay, and he tells her that the grass and the trees are all fed by the rain and they buy bread, and tells Fyokla not to be scared of the thunder. The only sound is the patter of rain dropping like fine shot on the young rye and the parched road. Okay, so the only sound that they could hear was the sound of the rain dropping. Okay, exactly like fine shot on young rye. Rye is, a plant which looks like barley, and the parched road. Okay, so the only sound that they could hear was the sound of the rain, drops of rain. Okay, the pitter patter. Okay, the sound of rain. Okay. We shall get soaked, Fyokla, mutters Terenti. There won't be a dry spot left on us. Ho ho, my girl, it's run down my cheek. Okay, so Terenti tells Fyokla that in a few moments they are going to be soaked fully, they're going to be drenched, and there won't be even a dry spot left on them. And he tells her, now he begins to describe how the rain is falling down his neck. But don't be afraid, don't be frightened, he tells Fyokla not to be scared of the, okay, rain as well as the thunder. The grass will be dry again, the earth will be dry again, and we shall be dry again. There is the same sun for us all. So he tells her that in a few minutes it's going to be dry again, the rain is going to stop, and everything, the grass, the earth, everything is going to be dry in a few moments. There's the same sun for all of us. The sun, okay, the sun shines, okay, equally on all of them. A flash of lightning gleams above their head. There is a loud peal of thunder, and it seems to Fyokla that something big, heavy and round is rolling over the sky and tearing it open exactly over her head. Okay, so Fyokla could feel a flash of lightning gleaming above their head. Okay, so in a flash of lightning, could be seen, okay, shining above their head, and they could also hear a loud peal of thunder. Okay, and Fyokla felt as if something, huge, something heavy and round was rolling across the sky. And It seemed to, tear open the sky exactly over her head. So Fiocla could feel something huge and heavy rolling over the sky and just exactly over her head. Don't be afraid. It's not from spite that it thunders, said Terenti. Okay, so Terenti tells Fiocla not to be scared, for it is not just out of hatred that it thunders. So, Terenti, is quite a knowledgeable person. Okay, and just like, something, he cares for Fiocla. And hence he tells her not to be scared, not to be afraid, and tells her that it's not just out of hatred that it is it is thundering. Terenti's and Fiocla's feet are covered with lumps of heavy, wet clay. Of course, as it has begun to rain, the earth has all become wet. Okay, and the Terenti's and Fiocla's feet were all covered with wet clay. It is slippery and difficult to walk, but Terenti strides on more and more rapidly. And the weak little girl is breathless and ready to drop. Okay, so as I said, since it has begun to rain, the earth has become very cloggy. Okay, and it has now become very, very slippery and difficult to walk. But yet we find Terenti's strides are, longer. As he's a older person, as he is able to walk faster than Fiocla. And the girl, of course, finds it very difficult to keep pace with Terenti. And she's become almost breathless and she's ready to drop. She's become so tired, okay? She's become so breathless, she's ready to drop. But at last, they go into the count's copse. Okay, so this is a place where, Danilka has got his hand stuck into a hole of in a lime tree. Okay, so they go into a count's copse. Okay, copse is a region where you have, clumps of bushes and trees growing together. The wash trees, stirred by a gust of wind, drop a perfect waterfall upon them. Terenti stumbles over stumps and begins to slacken his pace. Okay, so the trees are now, looked washed because of the rain, and the trees which are actually stirred, okay, by a gust of wind, drop a perfect waterfall upon them. Okay, so as they are walking, it looked as if a waterfall is dropping over them. Okay, uh, Terenti stumbles over stumps. Okay, so there are a lot of stumps. Trees have been cut. Okay, and there are stumps here and there, and Terenti stumbles over them, and he begins to slacken. Okay, he starts to reduce his pace. Whereabouts is Janelka? He asks. Lead me to him. Okay, so he asks, Terenti asks Fiocla where Danilka is and asks her to lead him to him. Her brother, a little fellow of 8, with hair as red as ochre and a pale, sickly face, stands leaning against a tree and with his head on one side, looking sideways at the sky. Okay, so here he is her brother. What's her name? It's Danilka. And he is 8 years old and his head is as red as ochre. Okay, so it's almost, yellow and orange and, red in color, and a pale, sickly face. The face, of course, is very, very pale and sickly. And he's there standing, leaning against a tree with his head on one side, looking sideways at the sky. So his head is to one side and he's looking sideways at the sky. In one hand, he holds a shabby old cap. The other is hidden in an old lime tree. Hearing footsteps and seeing the cobbler, he gives sickly smile and says, okay, so In one of his hand, Danilka has a dirty old cap, and the other hand is hidden in an old lime tree. So the other hand is in an old lime tree. And as soon as he heard footsteps, okay, he turned towards in the direction and found the cobbler. Okay, and looking at the cobbler, he gives a sickly smile. Okay, so he's very happy. Danielka is happy to see the cobbler. A terrible lot of thunder, Terenti. I've never heard so much thunder in all my life. Okay, so he has got his hand in a hole in lime tree, and he's looking at Terenti and telling him that he's never heard so much of thunder in all his life. Okay, and where is your hand? So Terenti asks him, where is hand? Okay, is in the hole. Pull it out, please, Terenti. So he's got his hand in the hole, and he asks Terenti to help him to pull it out. The wood had broken at the edge of the hole and jammed Danilka's hand. Terenti snaps off the broken piece, and the boy's hand, red and crushed, is released. Okay, so now the wood had broken at the edge of the hole. So at the edge of the hole, he had got this boy had got his hand, jammed inside the hole, and the wood had actually broken at that edge, and that's the reason why Danilka is not able to pull it out. Okay, so what did Terenti do? He broke off that piece, snaps off the broken piece. He snaps off, okay, the broken piece, okay, of wood, and he pulls out the boy's hand, and the hand goes as red and crushed. Okay, so it's been a long time since he has had his hand in the hole, and when they pulled it out, they found that it was red and crushed. It's terrible how it's thundering, the boy says again, rubbing his hand. What makes a thunder, Terenti? And again, he's again asking Terenti, what is it that makes it thunder? Okay, one cloud runs against the other. So of course they know, that cobbler is a knowledgeable person, and both these children know. And the cobbler here is the only person whom the children like. Okay, so they've got plenty of questions, and the cobbler, of course, is able to give them a very satisfying answer. One cloud runs against the other, answers the cobbler. The party comes out of the copse and walks along the edge of it towards the darkened road. Okay, so the cobbler tells Danilka that when one cloud runs against the other, you get thunder. And the three now walk out of the clumps of bushes and walk towards the edge, okay, towards the darkened road. The thunder gradually abates. Okay, after some time you find slowly the thunder slows down. Okay, and its rumbling is heard far away beyond the village, and they could hear still, okay, they could hear the rumbling of the thunder far away, even beyond the village. Okay, so children, we have got this comprehension passage. Okay, so we'll start with whereabouts. Okay, so from whereabouts to village. Okay, now who is Danilka? Okay, so children, all of you know who's Danilka. Okay, so Danilka, her brother, a little fellow of 8. So her means here it's Fyokla. So who's Danilka? Danilka is Fyokla's elder brother. How old is Danilka? Okay, so how old is Danilka? Look at this here. Her brother, a little fellow of 8. So How old is Danielka? He is 8 years old. So Danielka is 8 years old. What did Danielka have in his hand? Okay, so here we have. Okay, so look at this here. In one hand, he holds his shabby old cap. So what does he have in his hand? Okay, so Danielka had a shabby old cap in his hand. How did Danielka's hand get jammed? Okay, so look at this. Here, the wood had broken at the edge of the hole and jammed Danielka's hand. So, how did Danielka's hand get jammed? The wood had broken at the edge of the hole and jammed Danielka's hand. Now, from the passage, find the synonym of dirty. Okay, so the synonym for dirty from the passage is shabby. And the second one, weak, is pale. Sixth one, the wood had broken at the edge of the hole. Write the tense of the underlined word. Now the underlined word here is had broken. So, had broken, children. The tense of had broken is, yes, it is past participle of break. Okay, so children, here we finish with this part here. We'll continue on the next session. Till then, children, thank you.